3 years ago, we bought a trailer and decided to build our very own DIY tiny house. This took years of labor, but eventually we had a place to call home. And after living tiny for almost a year, it's safe to say we love it. So much so to the point where we decided to build another one. However, this tiny house is going to be a little different because it's actually going to be a man cave and serve as a separate living space. In the last episode, we were able to get done all of the hardcore bits like the electrical, the plumbing, and prepping for the design, which we're starting today. In today's video, we're going to be taking you along the rest of the build where we're going to be doing the drywalling, the flooring, and a bunch more of surprises that we have planned for you. And of course, don't forget to drop a like if you guys have been enjoying the series so far. As soon as the base of the house was done, we got started on the drywall and texturing. And this was specifically tricky because the drywall over in the living room was much higher than in the bathroom and in the closet. And we purposely decided to do this so that way it would look like the space is much bigger. We decided to do the bathrooms with a lower ceiling because that way it would leave us with some attic space over up top to put in some things that we use rarely. So we decided to do knockdown on the ceiling and orange peel on the walls so that way it would create a little bit of dimension. Now, the drywall guys were supposed to finish everything in one day, so we would have enough time for the texture to dry, and unfortunately the electrician was coming like 2 days after, so that meant that I had to sandwich in the painting tomorrow. Today we're back in the shed conversion and we're going to be painting the whole entire thing so that way our electrical guy can come in tomorrow and finish up. But for now we have all of the drywall textured and dried, so we're going to get to spraying this thing. Color itself, we decided to go over to Sherwin-Williams because we already knew sort of what our flooring was going to look like, and now we had to find the perfect gray shade to match it, and ultimately landed on the color Acier, which is a darker elephant gray. Since I only had one day to paint, I had to do the ceilings and the walls all in the same time, which meant that there was no time for either to dry or the drywall that was sprayed on yesterday. And then our electricians came in the next day to finish off all of the lights, and this was the moment that we started to see the final vision coming together. Now, I know you can't see the final vision just yet, but I have to know in the comments what you guys are thinking of this tiny house remodel so far. The hardest part of our first tiny house build had to be the mini split unit. A lot of mini split units are pretty DIY friendly, however you do need a professional to come in and do the vacuum and some other stuff that requires extra tools. And just because I said I would never install one of these again, here I am doing it in the second tiny house. This time though, it was definitely a lot easier because I think I already knew which steps to take in what order, even though this was a different model unit than the one that we have in our first tiny house. And we decided to go with a pretty affordable option, so this one was like $600 from Lowe's, and it has roughly 12,000 BTU, which is enough to fill a 400 square foot space. The best advice I have for anyone trying to do this themselves is literally watch every YouTube video you possibly can and read the directions at least 3 times because you will need it. And of course, it doesn't stop there because to start working on the kitchen and the bathrooms, we needed to have the flooring done. Before we even bought the shed, my husband had already picked out the tile that he wanted to put in the tiny house. And of course, we were shopping for some other things as well. But as soon as it was time to do the flooring in there, he completely changed his mind and decided to go with the black tile instead. Mind you, we did not even see a sample of it. And since our order got lost 3 times on the way there, we decided to get a head start on doing this wall, putting up some hardy board. As soon as the tile came in, we finally got the first look and we were obsessed with how it was looking. However, we were a little nervous on how it was going to tie everything together. We wasted no time and my husband and his friends went ahead and installed the tile, which required some prep work that you can see we've already done, like installing some hardy board on the floor and using some special tile mortar so that way the tile would actually stick, since most sheds have a wood subfloor. And this was definitely a lot more challenging because the flooring was 24 inches by 48, so it was absolutely massive, and most of the time it took 2 people to install one piece. And the next day we went out and grouted the whole entire thing. For the grouting process, we decided to go with the black grout to match with everything. However, it would make it a lot harder for us to actually grout the tile. We started off by scraping the seams and making sure that there was no extra thin set left behind. It's definitely a lot faster in 2, and you want to work fast because if the grout dries, you're going to have a harder time trying to clean it up after. We decided to use 1 32 inch spacers, that way we would have really tight grout lines. Not to mention we also went with a ginormous tile if you haven't noticed already. It's literally 24 by 48, which for a smaller space you would think would make it look kind of weird, but it actually made the space look a lot bigger in my opinion. We decided to get a porcelain version of the flooring, which is high gloss and looks like a literal mirror, and this is what's gonna go on that wall that we had left blank earlier. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical at first, but after seeing the completed picture, it looked so good and the lines matched up exactly to the flooring, so it all looked like it was a part of the plan. Good morning. We are back in the shed conversion, and today, clearly you can see there's a lot going on behind me. We just finished installing the flooring, grouting, and we recently just installed this glossy tile wall behind me. It came out, I think, better than any of us could have imagined. My husband had a vision. We obviously accomplished the mission, but when you look at it, it literally looks so stunning. Because the space is a little bit on the smaller side, it definitely makes it look a lot larger than what it actually is. So we are obsessed, and the way that it just blends right into the matte flooring, stunning. Now that we had the tile in its place, it was definitely much easier to start planning out the bar. We had already drawn up a rough sketch in episode 1, but now we were actually gonna have to pick out cabinet sizes. And the worst part is we specifically wanted black cabinets, and they are so difficult to find for a good price. And it was between Ikea and Home Depot on the black cabinets. However, we really like the modern minimalistic vibe of the Ikea cabinets, so we decided to go with those instead. The only downside to the Ikea ones is that you literally have to buy every little single piece that goes with them, such as the legs, and since we didn't want to spend an extra $300, we decided to just buy some 2x4s and make it ourselves instead. And after a field day of building at Ikea furniture, we were done for the night. Good morning, welcome back to another day at the shed conversion. We're currently working on the kitchen. Yesterday we built out all of the cabinets, and today we're working on leveling them, making sure that they're even, so that way when the guy comes to measure for the countertop, everything is nice and easy. But we've ran into a few issues, so let me show you guys what's going on. Right in here we have the kitchen essentially. It's actually a lot more spacious than we anticipated. So there's about 3.5 feet of walking room. Right here you can see that we have these drawers. So we're kind of scared that when we put the cabinet door over here, whenever we open these, it's gonna hit the door. We have to make sure that we have a little filler piece, but the problem is I don't think we bought enough to do that. As of right now, we're absolutely loving this color. It matches the flooring so well. Not to mention the Ikea system is awesome. So yeah, let's finish building this thing and see how it's gonna look. Okay, so to solution this problem and have the drawers fully open without touching this, we found this piece of wood that came with the kit of the corner. Pretty sure this is a piece where if we were to use it, if this were like the inverted version, but somehow it like perfectly fit as a filler piece. You can see that the drawers and this open literally perfectly. What a find. Thank you, Ikea. And to make the idea of a sexy bar come to life, we decided to add some LED strips on the toe kicks, but we didn't get any regular light strips, so to see what this is gonna look like, you guys will just have to subscribe and come back for the next video.